Welcome to Fox Sports Ohio's Champions Club at Great American Ballpark. We have a very large group of people here who are very proud to be the first to officially welcome home to Cincinnati National Baseball Hall of Famer Barry Larkin. Before we get the program started, please know that we are in the process of scheduling several opportunities during the 2012 season for our fans to celebrate with Barry his induction into the Hall of Fame, including a Barry Larkin night here at the park and a season-long exhibit in the Reds Hall of Fame. We'll announce details of those and other events and promotions as they're finalized. Before Marty introduces our special guests, I'd like to read a statement from Mr. Castellini, who is in Phoenix today attending the owners' meetings with Phil and Walt. The Cincinnati Reds organization and our entire city are thrilled with Barry's election to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. His extraordinary talent has earned him a permanent place in Cooperstown alongside Reds greats Sparky Anderson, Johnny Bench, Warren Giles, Ernie Lombardi, Bill McKechnie, Bid McPhee, Joe Morgan, Tony Perez, Ebba Rixey, and Ed Roush. Throughout his entire life, both on and off the field, Barry has represented himself and our city with the class and professionalism consistent with the ideals of the Reds, Major League Baseball, and the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. He continues to be one of our game's great ambassadors. We are very proud that his accomplishments have been validated at the highest level by the Baseball Writers Association of America. I personally had the pleasure of working alongside Barry every day during the last 8 years of his career. As extraordinary, talented, and respectful as he was on the field, it is important that you know he was just as extraordinary, talented, and respectful off the field to fans, media, the front office, and generally anyone whose path he crossed. Greater Cincinnati, the Reds, Major League Baseball, and the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown will be hard-pressed to find anyone who will represent them with more class, dignity, and humility than Barry Larkin. Now to continue the program, please welcome the recipient of the National Baseball Hall of Fame's 2000 Ford C. Frick Award for his own contributions to our game, Mr. Marty Brenneman.
Thank you very much, Rob, and good afternoon, everyone. I think you'll all agree that it's a great time to be a Reds fan or a member of the Reds organization or both. It's just been a whirlwind 3 days. I don't need to tell him that because I'm sure he knows it. But for all the people in this town connected with the organization or a fan, it really has not gotten any better. I was a little distressed in watching the announcement on MLB TV the other day when Peter Gammons twice made the comment of how especially great it was for the city of Cincinnati, as economically depressed as it is. And believe me when I tell you, I got a great big chunk of him last night on the radio show. This town is not that like that, and I felt like it was unfair to represent the city of Cincinnati in the manner in which he did. We have the first family of Cincinnati with us today, and we'd like to individually introduce them. To my immediate right, Barry's lovely wife, Lisa, and to her right, Mom and Dad, Robert and Shirley. And to my left and to Barry's left is two of his three brothers, Byron and Stephen. We have several members of the Reds ownership group here today. Representing the Williams family, Reds Vice President of Baseball Operations, Dick Williams and Sharon Frisbee. They're seated over here to our right. Also, and I'm sure it's a big day for this man because he's a fellow who scouted and signed Barry, one of the great members of this organization for more years than probably he even cares to talk about, and that would be Gene Bennett. Before Gene, there were guys at Moeller High School that certainly helped to, if not plant the seed, certainly get it growing a bit when Barry was there. Moeller High School baseball coaches Mike Cameron and Paul Smith. Barry, I want you to stand up, guys. There you are. Cincinnati Mayor Mark Mallory is with us today. Hamilton County Commissioners Greg Hartman, Chris Monzell, and Todd Portune. Gentlemen. And to get the speaking portion of our program underway, Mayor Mallory, will you come forward and address the crowd, please? The Mayor of Cincinnati, Mr. Mark Mallory.
Thank you, Marty. You know, pretty much every day, as the mayor of this great city, I get to cut a ribbon or turn some dirt or preside over a council meeting, which is always exciting. But I rarely get the opportunity to do something that is this magnificent. And I have to tell you, as the mayor of the great city of Cincinnati, you could not hope to be able to do what I'm doing here today. And that is saying congratulations to a great sports figure, a great Cincinnatian on a great set of accomplishments, and being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I have to say, Barry Larkin is one of those individuals, and you're going to hear this over and over and over, about his professionalism and about how humble he is and about how well he represents Cincinnati. You're going to hear that over and over and over. And it's because of several things. One, he has that internal drive to be professional, to be skilled at his profession, to be a great and humble person. But he also has what I really think is the real key to success, a great set of parents who instilled in him all of those attributes. And while we are congratulating him here today, let's give them congratulations for raising a great son. Now, I have a resolution here that was just passed in council earlier today. It was introduced by Councilmember Wendell Young, who is here with us. I'm not going to read it. It goes through various accomplishments over his 19 seasons with the Cincinnati Reds. I will say this, to grow up in the city of Cincinnati and to play baseball and to get to play baseball professionally and then for your home team, and then to get to lead your home team to a World Series victory, and to be named most valuable player, and to be inducted into the Hall of Fame is a tremendous accomplishment for any profession. So we're talking about baseball today, but imagine being able to rise up to the level that your organization, your profession honors you as one of the greatest of all times. No matter what you do, you have to be proud of the accomplishment of Barry Larkin here today. Barry, congratulations for your particular accomplishment, but congratulations for what you've done for this great city and the pride that you have instilled in each and every one of us, whether we're baseball fans or not. You have done a great deal for the great city of Cincinnati, and I'm honored to be here today to help congratulate you. Thank you very much. He just wants to stand up for a photo. We'll turn this around, get a few photos, and then... Still a politician, folks. Okay, that's good. We're on live TV.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of guys that I've neglected to introduce, and I'd be remiss if I didn't. A couple of former Reds players, the first African-American ever to play for the Cincinnati Reds, Chuck Harmon. And also the man we refer to, and with good reason, as Mr. Perfect, Tom Browning. Now representing the Hamilton County Commissioners, who will ask to come forward, Greg Hartman. Greg.
Thank you all again. It's an honor to be with you today at this awesome occasion, folks. Great to be with you. Ladies and gentlemen, at a time when true role models are few and far between, Barry Larkin stepped up here for 19 years, both on and off the field. Barry, this is truly an honor well deserved. I can't think of a better way to kick off the 2012 Reds baseball season than this today. On behalf of the citizens of Hamilton County and my fellow county commissioners, thank you for how you've represented us as a community, and congratulations on your election to the Hall of Fame.
You know, driving down today, I was trying to think, what the heck am I going to say about him? I've been blessed because I was thinking back, I saw him play all but 5 games of his major league career. And everybody knows the numbers. They've been talked about ad nauseum since the announcement, even before that. Lifetime batting average, all-star games, MVP award, the first 30-30 shortstop in the history of the game. And just touching on something that Rob Butcher said earlier, I think the measure of an athlete, especially a guy who ascends or a woman who ascends to the position that he has ascended to, obviously has great talent. Otherwise, he wouldn't be sitting in this chair. But the measure of a person is the way he handles all the accolades and all the successes that come his way. I can remember when he came to the big leagues. I can remember when he was in a Reds camp for the first time. Very wet behind the ears, and was blessed with the fact that he had a lot of guys who, quote unquote, for want of a better term, mentored him and showed him the rights and wrongs, as every young ball player ought to have that right and privilege. But then as the years rolled by and he was at the position day in and day out and accumulating the numbers and accumulating the fame and the attention, he never changed. I've often heard when someone passes away, they say, boy, he was a great singer, or he was a great ball player, or he was a great this or that. More importantly than that, I think you judge him by what kind of person he is. And the best thing I can say about him is he's lived his life with class, and he played the game the same way. Folks, here's Barry Larkin.
Thank you so much. You know, these last 2 days have been an absolute blur. And strategically, Lisa and I decided that today was going to be the day that we came to Cincinnati because all the other stuff we got out of the way. We could take a little deep breath, we could come to Cincinnati and set up how we are going to celebrate this induction with the city of Cincinnati. And that's important. That was my idea, but she was 100% in support of that, and I'm really looking forward to that day. I asked my mom and dad, my brothers here in Cincinnati, as well as Lisa, to be here because, as everyone has said, yes, this is a personal accolade for me, but I'm a product of the environment that has been set up for me. Pointed out some of my coaches, some of the guys from the organization. I was only successful because of the support of those guys, because of the support of my mother and father, because of the environments that they saw that was the right environment for me to send me to school up at the University of Michigan, for all you Ohio State people who are here. You know, send me to Moeller High School, to put me in a position where I could learn and I could flourish and become successful. Yes, I did get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that is an absolutely wonderful thing. But I do not want it to be lost in my enshrinement the importance of everyone that is here. That is so important to me. So, you know, Marty mentioned it. I did have some great teammates. I had some wonderful, wonderful people throughout my entire life, my entire career. And I've been thinking about, like, what am I going to say, like, during this induction speech? And I got some time to think about it. and I'm sure I'll ask Marty because he's seen plenty. And I want you guys to know that I've heard from just about every member of the Reds organization, especially the Hall of Famers. Pete Rose called me the other day, even guys aren't in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose called me the other day. Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan. I've gotten so much from everyone, and it has been like that my entire career. This is a special occasion, and yes, a special occasion for guys to call because of this induction, but it's been like that. It's just celebrated today, but it's been like that my entire career. That's why I've been successful, because of the support of people. Thank you so very much.
Questions? Can you hear me? If anyone has any questions, please raise your hand. We'll start with our media folks here. Larry will hand you the microphone. Any you TV guys in the back, raise your hand. Dave's got a microphone for you.
Hey, Barry, you said the other day that you mentioned one of your brothers was kind of lobbying to be the one to introduce you. How difficult is it going to be to choose which one, and have you thought about that?
Well, there was only one lobbying, so it's not going to be a difficult decision if I decide to go that route, because he is the only one with his head turned that's been talking to me about it. No. Byron calls me up the other day, and this, I believe this was before the announcement came out, right? He goes, so, you know, when you get inducted, who are you going to have introduce you? And I went, you mean if I get inducted, right? He was like, oh, man, whatever, yeah. Who are you going to have? And I said, you know, to be quite honest, I didn't really think about it. I haven't thought about it. And he goes, oh. And he's kind of quiet. And I go, are you telling me something? He's like, yeah. And I would do a real good job, too. So.
Mr. Larkin, I'm Maggie St. East with MLB.com. I'm a youth reporter. My question for you is, I've been to Cooperstown myself a couple of years ago. I know it had a really profound impact on me. So when was your first time visiting Cooperstown, and what kind of impression did it leave you with?
You know, I went to Cooperstown. Actually, I went to Cooperstown to play in a baseball game, but something happened. Marty, do you remember? Something went on, and we didn't even go, did we? So, okay, I don't know if you guys heard that, but the plane malfunctioned somehow. I think maybe somebody didn't want to go to this game, and somebody may have, I don't know, no. The plane malfunctioned, we actually didn't go, so I have not been to Cooperstown, but I've seen it on TV, and I'm a big fan of the Little League World Series, too. Yeah, I would like if people would, because I don't know how many opportunities you get a chance to speak to the parents of, but my mom likes to talk. I don't know if you guys know that or not. So somebody please ask her a question.
Was there ever a time that you looked at what Barry was doing and said, oh, this kid's special?
Actually, yes. Actually, you put me on the spot because I've always thought he was special. And when the boys were playing with each other, it just didn't seem that one outdid the other because each one was trying to outdo the other. So I guess until somebody from the outside said to us, this kid is special, then we never really thought of him as anything but one of the five in my family. Sorry.
I'll tell you a story. When he was 12 years old, I thought he was, his head was getting a little bit too big because the Little League coaches were all fighting over him. So, so I said, well, you know, I'll bring him down. So one Saturday morning, he and I and a bucket of baseballs went out to the baseball field. And I said, well, you know, I'll strike him out and show him that he can't hit everything. Well, I tried to strike him out. And in those days, I could throw hard. I could not strike this 12-year-old out. So I knew he was special then.
That's because he was tipping his pitches.
Anyone else with a question? Anybody in the back? Oh, hold on one second.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Larkin. These fine people I've known for many, many years. My name is Ed Rigaud. Robert was a chemistry student at my alma mater, Xavier of New Orleans. And my chemistry professor, the head of the department, had been teaching chemistry for 140 years. And he told me, when I go to Cincinnati, be sure to look up the best chemistry student he's ever had, Robert Larkin. So when I got to Cincinnati, the first person I called was Robert, and you're part of the family. I'm one of the Reds owners, so Barry, congratulations to you. And Xavier University did it for us, didn't they? Shirley, Robert.
We have one here in the front row.
Mark Schmetzer with the AP. Barry, you mentioned all the people who've talked to you.
No, I have not spoken to Davey. No, I have not. I plan to, though. I certainly will. And you know, and guys were asking me when I was up there, his name came up quite a bit about his possibilities of being inducted, and you know, I'll leave it up to those guys who are the voters to make their decision. But as far as I'm concerned, in my book, things that he did for me, sharing the information, challenging me as a player, teaching me the bounce throw from the hole at shortstop, talking to me about positioning, talking to me about protecting myself at second base on the double play. All this with the understanding that I eventually would challenge him for his job. You know, he took me under his wing. I remember we were up in Cincinnati, and Marty, you're going to have to help me with this one also. It was 82 or 83. The team came up to Detroit because they were on strike or something was going on at that time. And yeah, and was it 81? So Dave Parker, I go down to, I think it was Oak Tiger Stadium, wherever it was. Memory's gone, you know, getting old. Anyway, I go down to see the team, and I idolized Davey Concepcion, but did not have a personal relationship with him, never talked to him or anything. My first interaction with him was with Dave Parker, and Dave Parker takes me by the hand and marches me right over to Davey Concepcion's locker. And Dave Parker says to him, "Hey, this guy right here, he's going to take your job." And I'm sitting here like, well, wait a minute, man. You don't understand who that is, right? That's Davey Concepcion. Cut that out. And Davey looked at my hands. My hands were all calloused and whatever, because at that time I was still thinking about playing football. And he looked at my hands and he said, "You see all those calluses on his hands? He got hard hands. He can't play shortstop." And that was the first thing he said to me. So.
Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll, hold on one second. Turn it over to Marty.
Hi. Barry, this takes me back to the summer of '67. This is really going to be, in July, a real love-in from the city of Cincinnati to you. both here and in Cooperstown. And I'm so proud for you of what you've done and the feelings that have emanated from Cincinnati back. And I guess the question I have is for your parents, is that you look at this Larkin family who really are royalty here in Cincinnati, a daughter who's a doctor in Mississippi, wonderful guys. I'd like to know, Mr. and Mrs. Larkin, what, as a parent of two young guys over here, what can you tell us are the overriding principles that you had and instilled in this wonderful family of yours?
Well, we've been asked that question a lot in these last couple of days. So we've been thinking about it. One of the main things is discipline. Now, we had 5 children in 4 years, no twins. So there you go. But anyway. And then when you have that many children so close together, there has to be some discipline in your household. Otherwise, the children will take over your household. So, well, yes, young men, don't do that to your father and your mother. But so there had to be discipline. But the discipline had to come along with the love. So the children had to know that we loved them. But there were rules that we had established that the children had to abide by. There were consequences if they did not abide by those rules. Of course, there's that flexibility, but I think those are really the 3 things: the discipline, the love, and the rules that need to be obeyed.
I believe she said it all.
That concludes our program. We want to thank all of you for coming out, and have a safe trip home. Thank you very much. Barry, again, from all of us, congratulations, pal.